Beginning, the quietest room in the solar system. Commander Elias Ward hated silence. Not ordinary silence, space silence. The kind that pressed against your skull until your thoughts sounded louder than reality. Station Helios. 9 orbited the dark side of Neptune, so far from the sun that even sunlight felt like a rumor. The stars didn't twinkle here. They burned, steady and cold, like watching eternity without blinking, which was exactly why the research council sent him. Elias was the only human pilot who had survived prolonged isolation exposure without neural degradation. Every other candidate eventually hallucinated, panicked, or began talking to dead relatives. Elias simply listened. That was 3 years ago. Today, he was about to meet something that listened back. The containment chamber hummed behind reinforced glass, radiating a soft, rhythmic vibration that instruments could not classify. The researchers called it a signal. Elias called it breathing. "Commander," Dr. Mira Kessler said behind him, her voice tight with restrained excitement, "the object has repeated the sequence for 72 hours. Always when you enter the room." Elias leaned closer to the glass. At the center of the chamber floated a sphere the size of a basketball, matte black, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. No seams. No markings. No origin. They found it drifting between Neptune's rings, stationary relative to nothing. Not orbiting, not moving, just existing as if space had forgotten to push it. And yet every time Elias approached, the vibration changed. He placed his hand on the glass. The sphere pulsed once. A low thud echoed, not in the room, but inside his chest. He froze. Another pulse. His heart skipped, then resumed, matching the rhythm. Behind him, Mira whispered, "Heart monitor spiking, it's synchronizing with you." Elias pulled his hand back. The pulse stopped. His heartbeat staggered back into human irregularity. The room was suddenly too small. "What did it just do to me?" he asked quietly. Mira stared at her readings, pale. "I think it listened to you." The first contact that wasn't words. 4 days they repeated the experiment. Every time Elias entered the chamber, the object responded, not with sound, not with light, but rhythm. Pulse. Pause. Pulse. His heartbeat aligned involuntarily. The medical team insisted on sedation testing. Unconscious, no reaction. Artificial heartbeat, no reaction. Animal testing, nothing. Only Elias. Only conscious. Only aware. "It isn't responding to biology," Mira said during briefing. "It's responding to perception." "So it knows I'm there," Elias replied. "No," she corrected softly. "It knows you're experiencing it." The difference unsettled him. On the 7th day, he requested something reckless. "No glass," he said. The room erupted with protests. "You could be exposed to radiation." Nanotech. Cognitive overwrite. Elias remained calm. "It hasn't harmed me. It's trying to communicate. And right now we're answering through a wall." Silence followed. The council reluctantly approved, with drones, restraints, and remote neural monitoring. But none of that mattered the moment the containment barrier retracted. For the first time, nothing separated human and artifact. Elias stepped forward. The sphere floated toward him. Not fast. Not slow. Intentional. His breath grew shallow. "Okay," he whispered. "I'm here." The sphere pulsed. His heart obeyed. The sync. At 3 meters away, the world changed. Sound vanished. Not muted, removed. The station disappeared. Gravity lost meaning. He wasn't floating. He wasn't standing. He was perceiving without location. And he wasn't alone. Something vast observed him. Not visually, but structurally. Like every memory he'd ever had was being gently unfolded and examined. He didn't feel invaded. He felt understood. A presence formed, not a voice, but a shared concept. You persist alone well. Elias swallowed. You're inside my head.
No.
You are inside shared rhythm. Images appeared, not pictures, experiences. A civilization that didn't evolve with sight or sound, only synchronization. Individuals defined not by bodies but by timing. Their identity existed as patterns overlapping in cosmic scale harmony. They never spoke. They aligned. Entire worlds. Communicated through pulse convergence, stars used as metronomes, gravity waves as language. And the sphere was a seed. A probe sent to find minds capable of syncing with something beyond self. You came to find intelligence? Elias asked. We came to find resonance. Intelligence alone destroys itself. Resonance survives. He felt sadness in the pattern. Not emotional, historical. They had watched countless civilizations discover technology before empathy and erase themselves. So they searched for species capable of sharing perception, not communicating. Synchronizing. Middle, the shared mind. When the sync ended, Elias collapsed into Myra's arms. He was gone for 11 seconds. He experienced hours. The data logs were worse. Every instrument flatlined, except his heartbeat. It never faltered. Perfect rhythm. What happened? She demanded. He struggled to describe color to someone born blind. It didn't talk, he said. It aligned. Over weeks, the sessions deepened. Each sync extended longer. He began feeling emotions not his own, vast patience, ancient curiosity, and gentle caution. The entity learned humanity through him, but humanity learned through him as well. His neural scans began showing impossible patterns, both hemispheres firing identically, dream activity while awake, fear responses diminishing. He stopped feeling lonely, for the first time in his life. Then the station alarm screamed. The sphere pulsed without him. Global sensors reported gravitational fluctuations. Something was approaching. Not a ship, a field. Space itself vibrating in matching rhythm. Enormous. Planetary scale. The sphere had found its species. The arrival. Mira stared at the telescope feed, trembling. The stars behind Neptune were rippling, bending, aligning like waves converging on a shore. They're sinking the solar system, she whispered. Elias understood instantly. They're testing humanity. He stepped toward the chamber. Mira grabbed him. If they can do that, they can erase us. No, he said softly. They're asking if we can join them. The sphere pulsed urgently. For the first time, not calm, not patient. Calling. He entered the chamber alone. Touched it. The connection exploded open. He wasn't meeting one mind anymore. He was meeting thousands. A cosmic chorus of timing and awareness. And they were uncertain. Your species lives divided. Individual over collective. Conflict over convergence. Why should you persist? Elias felt Earth. Billions of unsynchronized lives. Chaotic, emotional, contradictory. He answered honestly. Because we learn slowly but permanently. Images from humanity flowed outward. Art, sacrifice, strangers saving strangers, enemies forgiving enemies. War too, but always followed by rebuilding. You desynchronize, then resynchronize repeatedly. Inefficient. Necessary, he replied. Choice matters. The minds hesitated. They didn't understand individuality. To them, unity was survival. To humans, individuality created meaning. Two incompatible logics. The solar system trembled. A decision approached. The moment. The sphere pulsed once. Elias felt it asking. Demonstrate.
How?
Share another mind without loss of self. He understood. Not him alone. Two consciousnesses, equal, connected voluntarily. He turned toward the observation room. Mira stood frozen behind the glass. He spoke into the calm. I need you to trust me. She stared, terrified. With what? Everything. Minutes later, she stood beside him in the chamber. The sphere floated between them. What do I do? She whispered. Just don't fight the rhythm. They touched it together. At first, chaos. Two heartbeats, mismatched, competing. Pain spiked. The entity almost withdrew. Then Elias focused, not controlling, accepting. He allowed her fear, her memories, her thoughts to exist beside his. Not replacing. Not dominating. Sharing. Her pulse slowed. His adjusted. Two rhythms, separate, gradually aligning. The moment their pulses synced, they saw each other. Truly. Every regret. Every hope. Every hidden kindness. No secrets. No judgment. Tears drifted in zero gravity as they laughed and cried simultaneously. They remained themselves, but connected. The observing minds reacted. A vast wave of recognition. Individuality preserved within unity. The tremor stopped. The solar system stilled. Decision made. Ending the new language. The entity didn't stay. It didn't invade. It taught. The sphere divided into thousands of microscopic motes that spread across Earth's orbit, not controlling, enabling. Humanity gained a new sense, the ability to voluntarily sync emotional perception with another person. Not thoughts. Understanding. Wars didn't end overnight, but they became harder. Hatred required effort when empathy was one touch away. Loneliness faded from the species slowly, generation by generation. Elias and Mira returned to Earth a year later. They never became rulers or prophets, just instructors, teaching humanity the simplest skill ever discovered. Shared presence. On their final day at Helios, 9 before departure, Elias looked at the empty chamber. Why me? He asked quietly. For the last time, a faint pulse echoed through the station. Because you listened to silence without needing to fill it. Mira slipped her hand into his. Their pulses matched effortlessly now. Not forced. Not permanent. Chosen. Human. Above Neptune, space returned to stillness. But across Earth, strangers began feeling one another for the first time in history. Civilization did not become perfect. It became connected. And that changed everything.